We've done most of the tweet where I talked about what Mariah Carey performances should I grab. I think I'm ready to move on to see what the lambs think about Mariah Carey's voice changes. So the question I asked was, how do you feel about the changes in her voice / ability over the years, and do you resonate with her later music? I was especially seeing a little bit of a change in the way that people were receiving Mariah after Emancipation of Mimi. It seems like after 2005, around Emancipation of Mimi, that seems to be when people drop off in their enjoyment. That's important info for me. So that's kind of why I mentioned that, although, you know, it could be different. Mariah can absolutely still sing. Her bad days go viral, and no one then talks about the good or the great. She's not what she was when she was 20, but she's still a vocal champion. I really agree. Her performances are inflated when she's doing rough, and we don't get to see when she's actually doing pretty good, or when she is, you know, she has a moment where she's shining. A lot of people don't actually harp on those. I find that Mariah Carey is often bashed the most when she has a bad day. But I don't think we're getting the full picture or the full reading of where her voice truly is, because we're only seeing performances that are blasted everywhere. I do miss her 90s voice, but I also appreciate her current state. It also seems to surprise me. I feel like she has been more vocally creative after 2000. I love that point about the vocal creativity, and I agree with it, because especially as we've gotten into, you know, Mariah's later work, I'm hearing her start to use her voice differently. I'm also hearing the intricacy of runs and ideas that she's crafting, especially around, you know, newer tones that she's creating in the studio. There's a lot of creativity that's happening there. I don't find that to be highlighted. What I feel like people haven't seen is that from the 90s to 2000s, although there may have been changes, you know, normal changes in Mariah Carey's voice, Mariah Carey's still been a writer throughout all of this time. And so she's constantly still creating these new ideas and getting better at creating them. And that's something that I've seen as she's allowed her sound to evolve throughout all of the time that she's been active as a singer. And that's in singing and songwriting. Her voice continues to evolve with each era, and it's really beautiful to hear. Some of her best work has been in the 2000s to 2010s. Make It Look Good, Camouflage, Faded, For the Record, I Wish You Well, 8th Grade, etc., etc. All right, we're not oblivious to the fact that her voice has changed. She's had challenging days. We love her because the good days are lightning in a bottle. And that's the other thing, Uncle Johnny. Mariah's best days are not just great days. Mariah Carey's best singing is astronomically better than a lot of the best days of most of the singers that we know today. Mariah Carey's career is amazing, but her singing is another level. And it's not just that she crafts amazing runs and all of these different things. Her instrument, in its capability, in its belting capability, in her coordination with her whistle register, Mariah Carey and her sound is unstoppable at its best. I need us to know this. And I can see why people are so enamored with that. Like I am. I will never understand when people expect her to perform to the ability of her younger self when they don't expect the same of athletes. I literally have been talking about this exact same thing with people. LeBron James is an anomaly, right? He's been playing for what, 20 years? I don't know. I don't really know basketball. In sports, you're used to seeing, especially people that use their human body for entertainment as athletes, you see them, you know, do the work for, let's say 10 years, if you have a good career, right? And then you retire. With singers, we expect them to do the same or better than what they've done before for 30, 40 years, 50 years at a time. This isn't realistic. Now, do people retain their faculties, you know, over that amount of time? Yeah, a lot of the time they do, but it's not the norm. I need you to know that. The people that I can think of that are constantly, you know, besting themselves, they're not many. I would say Karen Clark Sheard as an anomaly of an example, but that's not the norm. It doesn't bother me with her voice changing, but she's a human being and has been using it all her life. She means more to me than just a voice. Her music still resonates with me even post-emancipation, probably more so now due to me being more mature. I don't really believe M's voice has changed drastically. Every artist's voice matures and I'm quite fond of it. MC's voice gets so much attention because of her accolades, but her later works, in my opinion, are her best vocals and lyrics. The Me I Am Mariah era though. Mariah Carey is such a segmented talent. I feel like we see her as a singer, and it's like her songwriting and the music that she's crafted has kind of taken, like, it's kind of like somewhere else, right? And we don't actually regard it as a part of who Mariah Carey is. But she has 19 number ones for a reason. Mariah Carey isn't just a prolific singer, she's a prolific music creator. She constantly has resonated with the hearts of people. Her ability as a singer is magnified by her ability as a songwriter. Early Mariah loved the deeper, raspier tone. Prime Maya, almost boring, too perfect with screaming long notes. Interesting. I love hearing this take. What this person is saying is that the grand balladeer Mariah, it's almost like the sound was too perfect. Maybe it's even not necessarily as relatable. Now I'm reading into what they're saying a little bit. Lateriah, I love that. Gorgeous tone and maturity in the way of singing. Best albums, Caution. See, Caution? I'm not really a lamb, so I don't know how much Caution is celebrated, but I did love that album. Caution, Butterfly, Daydream, Emotions, Glitter. Okay, cool. I've grown to accept and appreciate her changes. Part of what interested me in her was how her voice evolved and the many different textures and colors to her voice. Even at her worst vocal conditions, there is a beauty to her voice that can be spellbinding. I do wish her voice was healthy too. I've always admired her voice, but being the musician that she is, Mariah has always managed to utilize her instrument no matter what circumstance faced. High, low, raspy, clear, and you always knew who it was. I welcome the changes. I love that. Yes, let's welcome the changes. Looking at the songwriting in a musical sense has become more difficult than her earlier work. High notes may have been shifted downwards, but the agility, note changes, register flips, etc. all tend to get more difficult the later in her career. I agree. Wow. One of Mariah's best records is Caution, and that just happens to be her last LP, which is nuts when you think about it. Exactly, 2018, so that was like what? Almost 30 years into her career. She is still serving at such a high quality. The one thing about it is the changes mean you get a slightly different Mariah every album, which I agree with. Amazing. I think it's a shame she was overworked and abused, that she suffered a physical and emotional breakdown when her voice was gonna reach its full maturity and best years. Okay, I think I need to look into that a bit. I love all of her music. I probably enjoy the newer stuff more than the older, actually. Some of her best stuff is the newer stuff. I Wish You Knew, Candy Bling, We Belong Together, to name a few. I love that you put I Wish You Knew first. I love that song off of Emancipation of Mimi, but that's a deep cut, and you put that first. I love that. I love Ride for your favorite song. I'm for that. I'm torn about the vocal change. Ultimately, she has nothing to prove. I agree. Even on her worst days, some of these newer girls can't match her current voice or pen. People weren't talking about that though. The beautiful thing about Mariah Carey is the range. I want her to sing more in her lower register. Most don't know how low she can go. No one can vocally sing her catalog the way that she could. She can still sing above most. She set the bar so high for herself, no one gives her a break. I agree. Mariah Carey's songs are vocally demanding. It takes an alien to sing them, and that's why Mariah sang them. I can't stress that enough. I feel like Mariah Carey needs a vocal coach or some sort of vocal therapy, and I wish she quit drinking alcohol. Mariah's music hasn't declined after Emancipation, as Caution is one of her most acclaimed albums to date. She still got it. I love Mariah Carey discography 2001 and beyond. It's unapologetically R&B, and it's still timeless. I love the changes in her voice as well. The Caution era press award performances were so good. Emancipation of Mimi, Fly Like a Bird, live is iconic. I could go on and on. Caution is critically acclaimed for a reason. Giving me life and do. Her voice has steadily declined with some fluctuations since the 90s, but it's really, really good. On the other hand, her music has always been changing and has continued to get better and better. Yes, her quarantine performances are everything. The voice is still voicing. As a fan, I am deeply hurt that she's always painted as a diva, how she was treated in the industry, how she was constantly disrespected and discredited with her unparalleled talent, and how they made her feel like an outsider. No matter what condition, I've always loved her voice as she always sings genuinely with her heart and passion. But to be honest, around 2017, the time I became a fan, I found her tone very nasal and heavy, which I find very annoying, but it slightly grew on me. Since she's getting older and has vocal nodules, she can still sing, but her voice is a hit and miss. Her artistry remains the same till now. Okay, I hear you. Plus, I wanted to lower keys when performing live. Okay. I think now is a good time to start to watch some performances. Do I know what performance it's gonna be? You guys are just gonna have to find out. And if you want to find out, definitely subscribe to this channel, because this is the place where we help you to reclaim your voice. Reclaiming my voice. I'll see you guys in another video. Bye, everybody.